Moja kwa moja tunaanza taarifa kutoka bunge ambako kwa sasa kamati ya bunge ya sheria ama kamati teule ya sheria basi imeketi pale katika County Hall kuweza kujadiliana ama kupokea maoni zaidi kuhusiana na sheria za mageuzi ya sheria za uchaguzi hapa nchini. Mtazamaji, hebu tuangalie ni yepi anao ya kusema kwa sasa.
I know you are good, so please share the time with your...
Much of your time, Mr. Chairman, and we really are grateful for this opportunity to represent. Let me introduce, because of we have enough guests in the room, that KEPSA is the voice of the private sector and the apex body of the private sector associations and corporates that includes SMEs, multinationals, trade associations and corporates represented through the member associations. And together, we bring together the voice of more than 500,000 members. I will not go into the other details of what we do because I'm sure you know that and we'll put that in the memorandum. But before I ask Trustee Lee Karori to go into the memorandum, let me also introduce Wairimo, who is part of the education sector of KEPSA, and I'm the CEO of Kenya Private Sector Alliance. But what I would like to begin our conversation on is that our looking at these amendments, we're not only looking at them for now, we're looking for the future of what this law would mean, whoever is in power, whoever is looking into elections. So for us, it's a long-term view of the election law. So that's where our focus is. And we've used corporate governance because that's what we use as members of private sector to guide us in our submission. So let me ask Chairman Lee to do that.
Chairman and members of honorable members present, I would like to make a submission of our memorandum by the business community. As you have heard, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance represents the business sector in this country. We have taken our time to study the proposed amendments or law, and we have looked at areas that could bring improvement towards these amendments. The first one is Clause 3, amending Section 6. In that area is where you have looked at the qualification of appointment of chairperson of the commission, which we do agree with amendments. But we would like to also bring in addition that in implementing this proposal, the commissioners also need to have a diversity and a mix of skills, because managing elections is a complicated process, and good diversity of skills, including management, leadership, need to be included in that area. And we also, Chairman, have looked at Clause 4. We have looked at Clause 4. We would like to, in amending Clause 4, we look at the matter of quorum. Our proposal around this, what has been proposed in this amendment, we feel that it would be better for the quorum to be at least 50% of commissioners, at least 50% of the commissioners present during deliberations. So, and in addition to having at least 50% of the commissioners present, we do agree that decisions made on a simple majority of members present is okay, because when you have quorum and you have commissioners who have met at least 50%, they can, in terms of normal corporate governance, they are able to conduct a business, and based on simple majority, they can undertake the business of the day. So that is our proposal, so that we also don't have just very few members meeting. For example, if you have the chairman and 2 commissioners, 3 people, in the current state of a proposal, they can go ahead with quorum. But when you say at least 50%, then you ensure that we meet the threshold of corporate governance. looking at Clause 6, amending Section 39 of the Elections Act, under Clause 6, we are looking at the systems of the election process and the reporting the results. We have got the electronic, we also have the manual. In our view, we propose that we need both systems. These two systems need to be complementary. They need to complement because each has a role and without one superseding the other, complementary in terms of use, that they would work together and they would be able to bring out the desired result in terms of complementing. However, this is by taking into account that the announcement still remains final at the constituency level. Now, when we go to Clause 7, amending Section 44, Subclause 6 of the Elections Act, there is a proposal here of deleting subsection 6, which talks about that the Commission shall prepare and submit to Parliament the regulations required. And we felt that it is still important for the Commission to still be able to submit key regulations to Parliament. And so that this can enable alignment to existing law and subsidiary legislation. Because when you have got the Commission undertaking major regulations without any input from Parliament, we feel that that may not be very good. So always a good oversight in terms of critical regulations from Parliament is our proposal. When we go to Clause 9, amendment of Section 83 of the Elections Act. And what has been proposed here is an amendment in this Part 2. Reads that pursuant to Section 72 of the Interpretations and the General Provisions Act, a form prescribed by this Act or the regulations made thereafter shall not be void by reason of a deviation. A deviation from requirement of that form, as long as the deviation is not calculated to mislead. When we start as a business community looking at this proposal, we felt that it will still be important to have a minimum standard of ensuring uniformity of forms used to transmit results so that they are able to be official and verifiable. And therefore, we have proposed that the forms used should be uniform and official so that you don't have documents and forms that are very casual in transmitting results and they do not conform to minimum standards of documentation. So it's important to have integrity in terms of the quality of forms that can follow a template for uniformity. Chairman, we also looked at Clause 11, the amendment, Section 6 of the Election Offences Act 2016, and this proposal under subsection 6A has proposed, notwithstanding any other provision in this Act or any written law, a presiding or returning officer in election in relation to the prescribed document containing, and it gives what happens, commits an offense and shall be liable. So we do agree with that, but we felt that we needed to expand expand this provision by including not just the returning officers, because in the entire electoral system, you have got so many people who are all responsible for the electoral process. And each one of them has a role to ensure that the election is properly done and credible. And therefore, our proposal is that
Na mtazamaji, hicho ni kikao cha bunge katika maeneo ya County Hall pale ambapo wanapokea maono au mapendekezo kutoka kwa mashirika tofauti, leo ikiwa ni zamu ya LSK, SUPKEM na pia IBC itakuwa baadaye kuweza pia kuwasilisha mapendekezo yake kwa bunge kuhusiana na mageuzi ya sheria za uchaguzi hapa nchini, swala